there's the stadium right there. UT Austin. Well, they're the fans left. Thanks a bunch, man. Yeah, he's a big time UT Austin fan. He's right here at TCU. Big time spy. To buy the house right there. It's very Hollywood, California kind of thing. It's got like a piano in there or something. Okay. Life must be tough, you know, for these type of people. It's supposed to be hard. Well, definitely during a TCU game, nothing but noise through that. But it's kind of welcoming, I guess. You know, it's like a TCU. That's the stadium behind it right there. TCU Stadium. Number 84. 30 yards. Incomplete. You know, all night long. Number 49. Flags are thrown on, you know, all through the game. You know, like trying to eat their pork chops. First down, TCU, horn frogs. Does it really echo like that in a stadium anyway, or is that just like a Hollywood kind of thing? Number 44. First down. Spotting works really hard at taking commercial crisis films that are commercially funded and working really hard at finding the art in them. And I really take my hat off on them, because I know these guys know real cinema, you know, but they really do. You don't ever catch them ever do like a original YouTube show, you know. That's when everyone's going to be like, you know, coining in on their program, you know. This guy, original YouTube show, made it on a shoestring budget, blah, blah, you know what I'm saying? And it's released on YouTube only, you know, all that kind of stuff, you know. They need like a film spotting episode paying tribute to the YouTubers, which is the indie market. There's no such thing as like a real indie film, you know. It's backed by these studios. It's got a few $1 million. That's not independent film. That's not an independent film. Independent film is when they're backed by a Walmart card and they're using like Sony or, you know, maybe even smartphones, you know, made on a smartphones. You know, I hate it whenever that's an indie film. No, it's not. There's no such thing as really an indie recognized film. You know, it's like an indie film, nobody's heard of it. It's released only on YouTube, if lucky. Or they're selling it out of the back of a trunk, you know, like Birdinator, whatever that film is. Birdemic, you know, that was once an indie. So it's like once an independent film, then it became commercial, I guess. Now it's kind of a commercial thing, but it was once very indie. backstory on my story, Silver Alert Kitty, Linda was working at Macaroni Grill, and I would go over to Old South, which I'm about to pull into, Old South Pancake House, and that's where I wrote most of Silver Alert Kitty, the story inspired by Fred Armisen about the old guy that goes off with his cat. I wrote it right in there. I wrote it all on my phone, and I sent it up to YouTube. I published it on YouTube. I'm sorry. I published it on Facebook. So it's published only on Facebook. So it's not on my fan fiction. It's strictly only Facebook published. And it's on my page. It's Silver Alert Kitty. It's one of a 5-part series. Well, Silver Alert Kitty is one part of a 5-part series of several different stories. One called the Men. One called the Men. One is called Silver Alert Kitty. And yeah, it's a Fred Armisen piece for sure. But it's about this guy. He's a stand-up comedian. He lives in Florida. There's a hurricane coming up, and he decides to leave town and do filming locations. And he wants to go up north and do all these different filming locations. And he brings his cat, Pickle. I think he calls the cat Pickle. And they go off on this adventure, and all these things happen to him. He has a friend that's a little like Carrie, Brownstein, whatever her name is, the chick that has the band, the band Sleater Kinney or whatever, and he calls her while he's on trip and all stuff. This dramatic thing happens to him, it's an accident that happens, and you have to read the story. But Linda was working at Macaroni, which is right here, Macaroni Grill, and then I would go and wait after, doing Grubhub. I'd go into Pancake House and sit there and write this Silver Alert Kitty. Don't know where it came from. I drink coffee and wait. Sometimes, an hour or two, each night. Didn't do any rewrites on it at all. And then I published it first. It probably has a few errors on it, but I published it right from there, right onto Facebook. It's still there. You can find it. It's public. Him and his cat Pickle driving around doing filming locations, and then something happens, and it's pretty dramatic. All the way from Oregon, the company called Fetty. It's group rideshare. So it's not just just a rideshare thing. It's it's like a bus, a traveling bus. You're riding with a few others to save the environment. After winter, there is spring. We have spring. We go into summer, and the garden is fine. Apple store for the TCUers. The old hornet frogs. Right there. Right on University Park Village. Right next to Flower Child. Fred Armisen listens to all these real weird bands. These real strange bands. Some band from Dallas was like goth electronic band. He knows the name of them and everything. It's like, heard an interview. It's like, what is he talking about? He likes Carrie Brownstein's band, the Sleet Skinny. My review on it is from the eyes of Eugene Levy and A Mighty Wind. It's a band that requires a lot of attention and focus. The type of music that it kind of plays like with your soul, and you have to kind of let go when you do that weird Eugene Levy character. It's like listening to music through the ears of Eugene Levy and the Mighty Wind. Mitch and Mickey, we were more of a concept rather than a real musical thing, more of an idea we had in our mind's eye. Well, I felt maybe that was the case. It's kind of something where it's real hard to think and do things, you know. Like we got a Bluebonnet liquor to pick up and drop off at your dorm room, most likely. No, they wouldn't really want it in the dorm room. It's probably going to a house. There's the poop deck. My girlfriend's parents met there. My ex-girlfriend's roommate. My ex-girlfriend's parents. So for a minute I thought I was in high school for 2 seconds. This is the Bluebonnet Circle. We're looking for Bluebonnet liquor. Maybe it's by the Circle Cleaners. There's Mellow Mushroom. If you're really into Eugene Levy, Mighty Wind. We first played our first gig at Mellow Mushroom. Mitch and Mickey, we were under at that time, and we did very, very well. It's got to be somewhere. What is this right here? The purple something, and this is an AZ smoke shop. I'm just going in a circle. This is Circle Donuts. Yeah, there it is. Nothing but Bluebonnet. Like about these little places, a can is 89 cents. There's the receipt. Okay, cool. See if it shows it.
You don't need to apply too many layers during this process, but make sure it gets into every nook and cranny.
There's one side of it. There it goes. There's one angle of it right there. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Appreciate it. Thanks so much. I was going to sell these a while back. Different ones like this that was different companies. Sure. So it's like high noon sips or something. These are really interesting. I got just a soda. I'm gonna be dropping the Fireball at your doorstep. So it's also kind of about me. It's brought to you by the one and only Coca-Cola. I think it's slightly about rideshare too, Grace, the AKA Wear Vlog. There's some rideshare comments, commenting on rideshare, kind of Shakespeare commenting on a lot of things. Commenting best, definitely on rideshare. And the, kind of the nightmare thereof, you know, them traveling from Portland, Oregon, all the way to Texas and charging extra for Scotch whiskey, and the Mark, the Uber driver, kind of being kind of shady, you know, and them kind of knowing it, you know, kind of thing. It's just, it's kind of, it's there's comedy aspects, obviously. It's not full on The Shining or anything like that. My show is just talking about film and going back to Linklater, since we talked about Linklater, Richard Linklater. You know, he's always going to be the filmmaker that made Slacker, you know, which is like a student film. These guys talking about Madonna's pubic hair and, you know, pap smear and these really like stand-up comedy, kind of weird, you know, just very strange kind of thing, which makes a lot of sense, and it's always going to be who he was. And, you know, if you say other filmmakers don't change because of Hollywood and the corruption, you're wrong, because David Lynch made Eraserhead, and he never went back to that. You know, David Lynch then made Elephant Man, which Mel Brooks had him do, and it was still in the David Lynch style. David Lynch never veered from his style, but he did, because Dune, he didn't get final cut. So when he did Dune, he hated it, and he didn't get the final cut. They offered him the third sequel to Star Wars, which is Revenge of the Jedi, which turned into Return of the Jedi, and he didn't accept that either. So he did kind of go back, but a filmmaker's style will change. They'll always chase the dragon, trying to get back to their original, even though Linklater would never really be able to go back and do like a slacker kind of, because same thing with Quentin Tarantino. His is kind of backwards with Quentin Tarantino, because Reservoir Dogs wasn't exactly his style, although it's a masterpiece and we all love it. A lot of them, it's their favorite Quentin Tarantino for sure, but it wasn't his complete style. I think Keitel had a big grip, you know, in that production. His style came out with Pulp Fiction. That's where everyone was like, what in the world? Because when we saw Reservoir Dogs, we saw Harvey Keitel casting it, being in it being what it is, which is a masterpiece. It's good, it's great. Because Keitel knew Mean Streets. It had like a gritty quality. We all liked it. The dialogue was realistic. Then all of a sudden, Pulp Fiction. And you're like, what in the world? And then we get into Quentin Tarantino's style. Reservoir Dogs was not his style. So his is backwards. My opinion. Okay, it might be his style, but it's my opinion. I would love to see if he made Reservoir Dogs on his own with a video camera, but then they weren't going to let him do that. He probably would have got killed. But anyway, regardless. What I mean by most of them go in one direction. So you've got Linklater with Slacker, where it's like, what is this? You know, this is like a crazy. And really, if you really go back with Linklater, you're really going to go way, way back, and it's going to be the Plow movie. You know, you can't learn to plow from a book. That is true. So that is also, so he has a couple of his auteur pieces at the beginning. He got lucky to be able to do both those. Lynch, we're going to see Eraserhead, and we're going to see a different side of David Lynch. But then you go back even further, before Eraserhead, and you got the screaming stuff with the siren. You know, the 5 guys or whatever they are, the 4 guys or the 3 guys or whatever it is. You know, I can't even think. It's not rabbits. Let's just put it that way. It's a siren going off and this weird animation. And no telling what AFI was thinking when they saw it. They were like, what? Get this guy immediately, you know. This stuff is priceless, you know. So we don't go back there. He kind of did a little bit. He reversed back, or he regressed with What Did Jack Do? Or is it What Did Jack Do? With the monkey talking. That is a little bit of his original. So we don't know the filmmaker's true style. Now we could throw Coppola in there, you know, say where did the conversation come from, you know. Then you've got you know, The Godfather, and then you've got Apocalypse Now, which is, they're all kind of similar. And then Dracula, you're like, what? So it's hard. There's Bergman. Even though he started with comedy, doing comedy television, Bergman, I think, was probably one of the only filmmakers I can think of, other than Fellini, maybe Fellini too, that really did keep his auteur style. Bergman, I think, did. He never strayed away from it ever, never attempted to stray away from it, and laughed about it if they tried to get him to. It was never going to stray. So the studios, man, they're crazy. My favorite studio story, though, my favorite story about the studios is from Richard Linklater, talking about when he was trying to get Dazed and Confused done, and they were going with the curse languages, and the producers were getting upset. So he came up with a counter, like literally, like how he was going to, you know, throw a punch and like step back and throw another punch. He was practicing, because the producers were so mad that he stuck to the original script, because I think he made an agreement or something, or some kind of weird agreement, but he stuck to the original script that they wanted to seize the project, but they wanted to get, like, they wanted to yell at him. So he was gonna box him. You know, he's going like, you know, like, get away, bam! I'm trying to make my movie. He was gonna hit him. I don't know if the other ones would have done that, but I think he probably would have if they would have kept on. Because, you know, you get to the point where just, you know, with them, you know, they're so lucky that they get to have that kind of argument. There's tons of filmmakers, they don't even care. They'd love to just have more than $1,000 budget, you know? They would probably just completely sell out just to be on set and pretend like they're a filmmaker, you know? They all would in a heartbeat, but a lot of them are so crazy about it, and they're so in this almost psychosis that they, you know, it's all like BS in the long run, you know? It's all salesmanship BS in the long run. It's just, you're just selling like something. Even if you say that you're not, you still are, because you present that painting, you know, that's a form of selling something, you know? Here's the painting. That's a good sales technique. Okay. You know what I'm talking about. Where a fireball would be dropped off. I gotta find it too. Found those numbers in the last minute. Thinking, right, I don't know if these are college kids, really. Thinking that might be it. You gotta do all this investigative work to find the door, the right door, and all this stuff. It's like, what in the world? Yeah. Yeah, Cole Spivey, man, great filmmaker. He did a lot of filming of dropping off fast food at people's doorstep. Yeah, that would catch their attention. What? It'd be like someone filming someone, you know, making envelopes and licking the envelopes and then putting postage stamps on them. Yeah, this is probably not that. Yeah, that guy's ride sharing right there. Not a bad little hiding spot, though. There's a ring over there, though. Let's see if I can go around this way. I didn't see the numbers from that side, so I'll have to go around here and see. They got a satellite dish, which is old school. Old school satellite dish. It's old school, like, kind of, look at this low, out of code hanging thing right here. It's like, is that code? Probably, I don't know, probably just makes it by a few inches. Somewhere in there, I think. It's kind of cool little place right here. Got like really cool setup. This lady's like, man, you scared the shit out. Never mind. I think it's probably this one. It doesn't. You can't see an outside number here. I'm thinking maybe it's that one. Still pretty cool, like Brady Bunch 1970s, you know, style. Old school. It is on this road though. Okay, yeah, it's not that one. It's definitely this one right here. I mean, the Brady Bunch would never live, you know, in this type of... the Brady Bunch would never live in this type of home, really, or this type of situation. But they could if things didn't go right with the, you know, interest the interest rates on their home. It would be a really weird episode. Sorry about that. It's this one right here. A really weird episode.